Herman Cain. What do you think? The next president of the United States? I don't know, I kind of doubt it. Who really knows? Anything can happen. It comes from a conservative right. You know, as I tell many folks, I don't really consider myself a Democrat or a Republican. Especially with this fiasco with the debt ceiling we had not long ago, I kind of really got fed up with both political parties. Just toying with those of us who don't have millions of dollars in the bank. But I think often, I live sort of a conservative life, and I have sort of conservative viewpoints. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I guess I live just, I just work every day, and I have a wife and kids. I cut the grass. I try to cut the grass every week or every other week. I just live a regular life. I've always worked. In the military when I was 17 years old. I collected maybe a month or two of unemployment in my entire life. I'll be 53 in a couple of weeks. I think that maybe the Republican side, the GOP, would have more of a would pique my interest more if everybody was just acting right and fair. If there wasn't what seems to me an underlying veil of racism that seems to sort of permeate the Republican Party, in my opinion. I mean, when you get a president like Obama, a black man, the first black man, in our nation to ever become president, and to have him called Sambo, by other congressional members, and to have pictures of him, drawn as Curious George, the monkey or the native with the bone in his nose, and all the mess that this man had to go through that no other president in our history had to go through. It's very difficult to embrace the Republican Party itself. I don't care how many black faces proclaim the logic of the agenda. If the party itself seems to me to be permeated with racism, I have a very difficult time embracing it. Then for other reasons, I have a difficult time embracing the Democratic Party. But I wonder sometimes, this soapbox that I'm on, trying to help. I've been trying to help for 20 years and 6 years on this cable program. 16 years in the pulpit, 17 years, as a speaker, to incarcerated young people. And for a few years, just in the neighborhoods, door to door, just knocking on people's doors and talking to them, trying to get a beat on their suffering and an understanding, and trying to find a way to help. You wonder, sometimes I wonder, is it worth it? Why go through this? Shouldn't I just, my wife, has a good job, I have a good job, and we have a family and life. Should I just focus on that and just live and try to prosper and then die one day, because I'm going to be 53 years old, and what, the average lifespan for a black man is like late 70s? I thought I hit about 130, but still, that's a drop in the bucket, to forever, and ever. And I do wonder, why care? Why not just do my thing? And see, that's what I see with the black folks in the Republican Party, is I see that attitude that, I just need to take care of myself, and this is just the way that it is. And if I'm working and I've picked myself up by my own bootstraps and created money and worked and created a nice life for myself and my family, why care about the people who don't? And it's kind of interesting. That's kind of where my mind has been. Recently they dedicated the memorial in D.C. to Martin Luther King. I've studied pretty deeply the civil rights movement in America. And then I'm looking at the speakers, in this dedication prior to President Obama's speech, which I missed. I was trying to DVR and somehow I missed that. But I saw some of these speakers, like Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King's son and a couple of other folks, proclaiming, we're not there yet, we're not done, and don't take away this right, don't take away that right, and all this stuff. That's nice, but you know, when I look at the civil rights movement from like the 50s and 60s and the struggles prior to that, even through the 1800s and 1700s and 1600s, it seems to me that there's a big difference between now and then. And then it was like the powers that be and white folks and the institutions and the establishment and all that stuff was fighting against black folks to keep black folks down. And so I saw the battle line, and I understand the civil rights movement. I even understand, you know, like the Black Panthers and SNCC and all those groups, you know, Angela Davis and Kathleen Cleaver, Eldridge Cleaver, all those folks, you know, because there was a particular hand of the establishment that was coming down on black folks, making it difficult. Police, you know, the Black Panther Party was really the Oakland, they were to protect the neighborhoods because the police in Oakland were coming down heavy-handedly on the residents of Oakland. And so really the Black Panther Party was more to protect the people than some overt, you know, terrorist organization. Because the police were, you know, coming down very hard. And, you know, sometimes we find that as well today. We know that. But I mean, this was like policy. And see, this is a different time. So when I see the civil rights leaders of old, who are old today, you know, proclaiming we're not there yet and we won't let them do this or take that, and trying to sound like or imitate Dr. Martin Luther King, it strikes me that the enemy that we have today is not the establishment, it's not the man, it's not white folks, it's ourselves. Now we can debate, and as we've covered in many programs, and we will cover today, you know, later on, that a lot of our issues, and many of our issues are indirectly or are created, you know, over years and years, you know, by those certain entities, but it's not happening now. And so we can't really, there's nobody to yell at, you know. Even the entitlement programs, you know, there are a lot of African Americans, percentage-wise, as we discussed in the last program, there are more white folks on welfare than black folks, you know. But percentage-wise, there's more of a percentage, you know, per capita of black folks on welfare. And a lot of times we are using the system as is not supposed to be used. Like I think Ohio has been in the news lately and kind of in trouble because there's the program set up that the deal is that folks that are collecting, you know, assistance are supposed to be looking for jobs and proving that they're looking for jobs. And it just hasn't been done over the past couple of years. And so, you know, I understand the system being faulted because it hasn't followed up, but what about the people that haven't followed up? And in all fairness, I guess you can get used to, you know, collecting that free check, and there are many psychological reasons, historical reasons why folks are the way they are, but this is just the reality. This is not the 50s, this is not the 60s. The only people really holding us back are ourselves. And now I don't just write off folks by, well, it's your fault, so oh well, that's it. Because I feel like for me there's a responsibility to help. There's a biblical verse that says, to whom much is given, much is required. And I realize that even the insight that I believe I have and the way I think, my rationalizing process, the light bulb that has gone off in my head so long ago, is I should be able to help folks, but it's like I wonder sometimes, do people really want to be helped? I have relatives that are Republicans, and of course we have heated discussions at times, but I have to, you know, I'm also in the neighborhoods quite often, and I'm seeing people who don't really care, who simply are waiting for that check, who really don't care about anything, and they can work, they are healthy. So man, I'm like conflicted, I'm torn in two here. And so in the past few programs we've been talking about some things, discussing some things as far as black folks are concerned. And even as I've been suggested to tone down my rhetoric, or you know, how I'm approaching black folks is, you know, affirming some of the ills that we have and why we have them, that I shouldn't because I'm offensive to some white folks. I can't really worry about this right now. Maybe it's because I feel like I'm at my end. And maybe it's because I feel like at this particular point it's all or nothing. And maybe it's because I feel like if I give all that I can and folks just don't get it, I mean, is this just a lost cause? Is this hopeless? Is this just the way that it's going to be? You know. So anyway, those are my thoughts.